Hello, my friend. You know, in my hometown, I'm from a place called Port Huron, Michigan. Port Huron is about 60 miles north of Detroit, right on the Canadian border. And growing up there, one of the businesses that was really a institution in my small hometown was a place by the name of Mosier's Jewelers. Now, Mosier's has been out there in place doing business for 125 years. You might say, well, how do I know it's 125 years? I know because they just recently announced that they were going out of business after four generations, 125 years. Growing up, I'd go into the downtown area, and there was always this clock right outside their store, and it was part of the landmark of downtown Port Huron. Hey Angie, hey Trisha, thanks for joining. So it kind of chokes me up a little bit to hear that they're going out of business. But the thing about it is the reason why they're going out of business is not because of Amazon driving them out of business or anything like that. It's simply because the kids don't want to do that kind of business. They decided to go into other fields and so forth. So they decided to just end the business. So they're having like a going away sale and liquidating their inventory and all that good stuff. And I'm sure there's people who have already clamored in and said, sorry about that. We're sorry that you're leaving and so forth. It's a big hit to the whole community because people are just so used to seeing that store there. That's the example. They have served that community, again, 125 years. Four generations have served the local Port Huron economy and a community, and they're going out good. Well, I want to tell you a story. You saw that the subject was a Tony rant. Some businesses or some things that need to go out of business bad. Well, let me tell you a story about it, something that needs to go out of business bad. And I'm not saying this for all of them. I'm saying it for one specific one. And that place is called Tim Hortons. Now, Tim Hortons operates, and it's a Canadian company, but they also operate, of course, in the U.S., and there's locations all across Canada and the U.S. And I'm not speaking about all of the Tim Hortons, but I am speaking about one. If you are in Columbus, Ohio, and you go to the one on Bryce Road near I-70, beware. Today, went to that one, and one thing I kind of noticed for the last several weeks is that the one at Bryce and the one I was just telling you about, Bryce and 70, there never seems to be a line, even during what would be considered peak times. And that kind of, struck me as weird, but I'd go there and get things and so forth when I had a taste for something there and go about my business. Well, today, I think I found out why there's no line. I drove into this place, and for one thing, when the order was being placed, you could hear them laughing and joking around in the back. And I'm like, why are these folks joking and laughing and stuff? They could barely hear the order because they were so busy having fun inside. So we drove around to the window, and what we ordered were bagels. Bagels toasted dry, meaning that they're split in half and toasted. That's it. Well, we drove around and we got the bagels. Let me tell you something. If you've ever been to Tim Hortons and got a bagel, as I'm sure you probably have, you know that they wrap the bagels up and they put them in the bag. Well, we paid for the bagels and they gave us the bag and we kind of drove off. A bit of a hurry, so I didn't have time to really dig in and find out what was going on. Well, I opened the bag, and they had literally put the bagels in the bag, not wrapped, just threw them in the bag. And fortunately, they were toasted dry. If they had butter or cream cheese or something on them, it'd have been a mess in that bag. And you could tell that the attitude was one of just joking around, having fun, but it was not about serving people. Let me tell you, friends, that's the kind of business that needs to go out of business bad, in a bad way. And I guarantee, like I told you, there's never a line there. And I think it's because no one, the word has gotten out that particular Tim Hortons is a terrible one to go to. And as a result, they never have a line. But I didn't get that memo, so I'm giving you that memo so you know that. So what's the point here? There was a restaurant called Teriyaki Surprise or Teriyaki. Yeah, I think it was called Teriyaki Surprise here in Columbus area in Pickerington, and they had the same kind of thing going on. A bunch of high school kids having fun, no always taking too long to make orders and so forth. Well, I'll tell you what, I did a Facebook Live about that, and literally within a month, that place had closed down. Not because of what I said, but because of what they did. They didn't serve people. You know, John Maxwell talks about the way to have the best year of your life is find a way to serve someone every day. Teriyaki Madness, that was the name of the place. Find a way to serve someone every day. Well, if you're not willing to serve someone every day, then not only should you not have the best year of your life, but if you're in a service business, which we all are in some respect, maybe you need to be out of business. You need to put us and you out of your misery because you're not willing to do the things that we're willing to pay for. Okay? What's the action step here? What should you do with what I just told you? Well, there's a couple of things I want to encourage you to do. If you're in my hometown of Port Huron, Michigan, go to Mosier's Jewelers. Check them out. Wish them well in their future endeavors, and thank them on the behalf of them as well as their ancestors, I guess, over 125 years for the service they gave to the community. Tell them Tony said hey. All right? If you are in Columbus, Ohio, your action step is to avoid the Tim Hortons on Bryce Road at I-70 because they are terrible. Terrible. You know, if I'd have had the time, instead of doing this Facebook Live, what I would have done is I'd have gone back through, because I'm sure it wasn't an isolated event. I'd have gone back through and reenacted the whole thing and recorded it. And I'd have put that on Facebook and tagged Tim Hortons. And I think some action would have been taken. I just didn't have time to go back there. And I don't want to go back there to work that hard to straighten them out. But I do want you to know that if you are in the Columbus area, avoid that Tim Hortons. I'm not speaking bad about all Tim Hortons, but that one is garbage. So anyway, those are your 2 action steps. Have a blessed day. I've ran it long enough. Buyer beware. And if you're in business, serve the customer. Like Angie says here, give servant leadership. That's the key. Have a blessed day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye now.